MOCAST, the podcast beyond World of Warcraft.
3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to the MOCAST podcast. This is episode 7.
7 it is.
Yes, and man, we haven't touched too much on a lot of topics, but you know, this time around, since we got, you see the title, we got the boy Accolonn in the house, which he has been going through some shit, and we'll talk all about it in this podcast. What up, man? How you doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
we're basically enjoying the coffee. We're kind of like we're trying to make another type Nagura podcast, but obviously with Accolonn.
All right. I saw the Nagura podcast. It was really interesting, really cool.
She's cool. She
should have more.
To be fair, I didn't even know about Nagura until I saw your podcast. Like, I legit didn't know that she was a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So it was pretty cool. I have my coffee here as well. Big fucking floss.
That's the grande version.
Big man's coffee, man. We'll go with the small cup.
I mean, if you're my size, you need coffee for 2 in the morning just to wake up. So,
come on, man.
You know.
Come on. I mean,
I like small cups. Makes me feel like a big person when I hold them.
Advantages, disadvantages, man. All right, so okay, we chatted a bit pre-recording this, and I really wanted to know, because apparently both of these motherfuckers know. I don't know. So I've been watching Accolonn for a long time, and I was super happy to see, like, you know, his let's say change around in the background, you know, with lights and shit and new cameras and the sound. Everything was so crisp, and something happened. And I'm looking at him now and like, okay, dude, what's the story? What the fuck happened? I know you talked on the stream, but come on, we gotta know.
All right, it's a long story. I'll try and condense it to as quick a way of telling it. But we had to move to a new house, mainly for the dogs. Me and my brother live together, and we have 2 dogs, and the yard was simply too small for the Labrador. So we decided to move to a new house. We got the new house, did everything correctly. There was a contract in place. In the contract, we made sure to state that we need internet and that we need to be able to provide our own internet, because currently the lady that owned the house had her own internet connection there. She agreed to everything. Everything was fine in the contract. All good. We paid the deposit, paid the first month's rent. We're moving in. So we move in 2 weeks ago on the Friday. Again, we have that on in writing. We're allowed to move in on the Friday. This Saturday morning, this fucking Karen arrives at her house, right? Which is technically our house now, because once you rent a house in South Africa, you are, in fact, the owner of that house for the duration of the contract. Mm-hmm. She arrives in the house. She literally walks into the house as if it's her fucking house. She opens the door, walks in, and starts screaming at us, literally yelling at us, what the fuck are we doing in her house? We're not allowed to be there. And we're trying to show her, listen here, we have in writing you saying that we can move in on the fucking Friday. And she doesn't even want to listen to us. She's just screaming her head off, telling us we'll treat her with respect. I'm walking out going, fuck you. You know, just sort of, I just wanted to fucking scream at this lady. But anyway, she freaks the fuck out. The internet that she has isn't working. Everything is just broken. So, you know, we finally, after that, she chased us out of the house on the Saturday. So we literally had to leave the house, which is against the law once again. But we went with it because I'm going to sue the living shit out of this lady.
Right.
So we went with it to keep our side clean, to make sure that once we get to court, she can't go, you know, they were threatening me or anything like that. We remained very calm, just left the house. So on the Monday, I write an email and I say to her, listen, this will be our 2-month notice. Again, trying to stick to the law. As long as you fix the internet, because the internet is too slow and you didn't cancel the internet like you stated you would do in the contract, so that we could start our own or get our own internet service provider. She emails us back within like 5 minutes going, you can leave my house within 24 hours if you want, and you will use the internet as is. The internet is so slow, it gives me 10 megabits download and 1 megabit upload. So I physically can't make content.
Wow,
right? I can't
dude.
make videos.
Okay.
I can't work. I literally emailed her back. I said, listen, I told you in the contract that I require internet to work. She sent back, she just said, not my problem. So now we're in a flat spoon.
I guess she doesn't understand the concept of a contract.
No, she doesn't give a fuck. She literally does not give a fuck. In fact, she told the estate agent they can go to their lawyers if they want, but they need to get out of my fucking house. So I can't wait to take her to court. But so now we're looking for a new house, right? I'm rushing. I looked at so many houses over the past 2 weeks. I wanted to die. There was a physical point where I wanted to phone the estate and said, look, I'll sleep in my car. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
This set up a quick stream. We can do like an IRL, Accolonn live from the car.
Yeah, I'll just stream from my phone. I'm so tired of this bullshit.
Yeah, man.
So we finally get this house, the house that we're in now. It's an amazing house. It's really fucking cool. Very beautiful. It's in like a gated community, which is sort of standard in South Africa with security guards, 24-hour cameras. So it's a pretty safe area. Yeah. Pretty nice house. Nice yard for the dogs. But as you can see, I only just arrived because nothing has been set up. I'm not happy with where my camera is. I'm not happy with where the fucking desk is. On that side is the bed. And I don't want to switch it around so that the bed is in the background, but I'm probably going to have to do it because it's too fucking light. It's a nightmare at the moment. Luckily, the internet works.
Yeah.
So,
one thing solved.
Yeah, the internet has been solved. It's a nice area as well. It's very beautiful and it is very quiet. So it actually gives me the ability to now make videos more outside, like vlog style videos where I show people the area, but I also talk about World of Warcraft lore. So that's going to be quite fun to sort of see how I can incorporate landmarks and stuff into talking about World of Warcraft.
And I think people are genuinely, naturally interested on seeing other people in more, let's say, natural environments, especially in these trying times.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing some outside action.
Kind of connecting with people on a daily basis, I mean, people always like that, and...
Dude, what a fucking journey, man.
Jesus, man. What?
You went through it. Oh, my God, man. It's like,
I mean,
yeah.
For me, the argument was when it first happened, I was really angry and really upset about it. And then I thought to myself, well, what's the point of getting upset? This is a story, right? This is an adventure. This is life. That's how life works.
That's
you're
part of it,
gonna have bad shit happen, and then you're gonna go, what the fuck is this? But at the end of the day, this is life. This is what life does. It throws you curveballs, and you're gonna have to adapt. If you don't adapt, you're gonna sink, right? Now I laugh at it. Now it's funny, even though I can't wait to take this lady to court. I need to fucking take this lady to court.
Justice needs to be met.
It's it's not even about quote unquote a revenge or anything. It's just like laying the thing straight. That lady needs to like learn how to fucking have a proper conduit with other people, especially offering buildings and stuff. You don't treat people like that, man. Doesn't matter what the fuck.
It's not okay. And then you need some form of resolution or closure to this. Yeah, it's not about you getting your way back, but you've been wronged clearly, and you've done, at least from what I've listened to, Yashim, you've done everything pretty well, right? Pretty on point. And you've she's cost me over $2,000.
There you go.
She's cost me over $2,000 not being able to work, not being able to upload videos. Because I'll make somewhere like $1,500 a week on YouTube, Twitch, and the Sunday Night Chill shows. And then, of course, all the money that I had to take out to install the air conditioning, take out the air conditioning, reinstall the air conditioning. So it's been, she's cost me a shit ton of moving cost. But the reason I want to take her to court isn't actually because I want revenge. Yeah. I hate unfairness. And I hate people, especially in the world that we live in today. You have people that make it to the top, right? That make a lot of money, that do not fucking deserve it because they got it through being criminals. They got it through not treating other people fairly, through stealing money basically from other people. And this is what this lady did. She's used to getting her way. She's used to getting away with shit that she shouldn't get away with. And for me, as someone who believes, and we spoke about this the last time I was on the podcast, someone who believes in capitalism as a fundamental idea, I believe that people should be free to enter the market and partake in the market in any way they see fit. I believe that consumers are the ones who keep companies honest, who keep people honest. So unless consumers are willing to stand up and say, listen here, fuck that, I will not stand for it, this lady's going to do it to someone else. She's just never going to stop. So true. Someone has to stand up and say, no, you do not treat people this way. It will cost you a shit ton of money, and I don't give a shit, because you need to learn what is common decency. Adam Smith spoke about it. Sorry to take this into a whole different direction, but Adam Smith,
for it, man. Just go, baby.
Adam Smith, the father of capitalism, literally, he said, for capitalism to work, you need a well-informed consumer, right? You need a well-educated consumer. Because there's no regulation, there's no government that tells companies not to do certain things. It's us, the people who use those companies' services, that have to go, I'm not paying for this. So unless you get better at it, I refuse to pay for it. And then new companies hopefully start up, or new people buy houses, and you can rent houses from good people. The lady we're renting at now is amazing. She was here on Saturday. She fixed all of the problems that we showed her. She's just awesome.
That's what's
so
yeah. It's good, man. It's not about revenge. It's basically living in a society, and like you said, it's some might say, like, why do you care? Like, suing her won't, you're not gonna have any more interactions with her. But then again, she got to a point where she had to do that. She did that to you because maybe somebody else didn't step up and did the right thing. So it all goes around and comes around when we're living in society. So it's all, making it better for everybody. And I mean, if I'm gonna be a fair person, it's reasonable to expect you to be fair as well. And obviously, that's not how life works, but we can at least work towards making it better.
I mean, for society to work, we need to be able to trust that when I enter into, so for example, when I do this podcast with you, I trust you guys not to edit it in such a way that I'm being taken out of context, right? If I didn't trust you to do that, then we wouldn't be able to do this podcast.
Yep.
Maybe, we wouldn't be able to work together on anything, because I can't trust you. You can't trust me. I can't trust the guy at the shop not to do things. We need to work on that. I trust you to be fair so that I can be fair towards you. And you require, when someone isn't fair, back in the day, we would say, I challenge you to a deal, and I would shoot you in the face with a fucking pistol, or you would shoot me. And then we said, wait a second, this is crazy. We can't keep shooting each other. So we decided the courts, and we said, right, if someone is unfair, we take them to court, and the court forces them to become fair. So I believe that it is my duty, as someone who believes in a capitalistic system, it is my duty to take this lady to court. And I don't want to make money off of her. I'm not going to sue her for, $10,000 or even $100,000. I'm going to sue her for $2,500, which is the exact amount that she cost me.
She cost you.
I don't want to make money off of her. I don't want to get rich off of her. I just want her to know, you can't do this to people. Because if you start suing people again for like $10,000 or $100,000, then you're not being fair.
Yeah, you're becoming what you're chasing, basically.
Yes, you're now the one being unfair, and sometimes the courts will grant that. Let's be honest, we've all seen those giant settlements where companies are forced to pay out $13 million or $30 million to someone that didn't lose $30 million, and that is also not a fair thing to do. You must be fair so that other people can be fair.
100%. I think it's a pretty healthy, view on things. And ideally, I still believe it's an ideal. But as you would take like the step to actually taking this situation to court, which is only fair for at least at some point for this lady to like learn her lesson. It has to have some sort of impact. Maybe the next guy she'll encounter, or girl, or whatever. will not get the same treatment just because, oh shit,
Yeah.
I did that, but then that dude who,
I think it also has to do with your psyche as a citizen, because you have to be able to trust the system, right? Because the system is supposed to protect us, and not using it when it's supposed to protect your interest is obviously counterproductive, and obviously vice versa. If you use it when it's supposed to protect you and it does serve you, gives you a better mentality as I'm part of society. We're civilized people. Let's act like civilized people. I mean,
what? You're civilized?
No, come on, man.
Find out new things every day.
The thing is, it's people are so different. I've heard people say this. It's like, it's amazing that we actually get along. We most likely get along because we actually rationalize all this. Like, okay, we have to get along because we're pretty smart and we can do some pretty stupid shit. But if we get along, like, everybody's life is better. So I'm not just gonna make my life better in detriment to yours, because eventually that will just fall apart. So with my life, if I want my life to be better, yours has to be as well. So I shouldn't fuck with your life if I want my life to be okay. That's kind of like that. That's how I feel.
I mean, it's called what you're just describing there. It's called rational self-interest, right? I believe in people being selfish. I believe in people doing what's best for them. But what best for them means to be rationally what's best for you. So, for example, I don't think anyone should be stopped of, anything. I think everything should be legal, and you should be allowed to do whatever the hell you want, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else, and as long as it's not bad for you. So this would mean that someone who decides to shoot heroin into their fucking arm, sure, you're allowed to do that, but that's a stupid thing to do. That's just, why are you doing that?
You take
because it's going to be, it's going to be bad for you down the line. So what you just said there, Flame, is 100% correct. You need to be rationally self-interested. In other words, sure, you can fuck someone over and you can kick them out of your house, and they still, by the way, she still haven't paid us back the deposit or the first month's rent.
All right.
What a surprise.
She still hasn't given her money back.
What a
Yeah. You see, that's what I call that's her being self-interested, but not rationally self-interested, because she now thinks she's going to keep this money and she's going to just use that money to fix her house or whatever the fuck it is. Even though we only lived there for like a week, so we didn't break anything. We barely moved in. She's going to use it to fix all the problems in her house, but she's going to get sued. So that's not a good thing. You're just shooting yourself in the foot here. So yeah, I believe what you just said there, Flame, is actually very interesting. Human beings we're so different that we should actually not be able to live together. If you think about it, we should not be able to be friends with one another.
Yeah,
because
What do you think makes us though? Do you think it's part of evolution? Because there's a lot of people that develop, sympathy towards one another for some reason, right? Even like, we all know that, let's say the prominent male can have this more approach of, trying to dominate or trying to, become the better male in the room or whatever. But we all know there's like this empathy, sympathy component that kind of works into the social fabric of, people interacting with each other. You made a good point, but what do you think still makes us like each other? Is it still the rational self-interest, or is there something else there?
I think it's rational self-interest. I think humans, let's go back 10,000 years before we had the technologies that we have today, before we had anything that we have today.
Yeah.
Surviving on your own would have been near impossible, right? Because you would have had to do all of the hunting, all of the gathering, all of the planning. You had to make sure that you would hunt enough animals so that you could last the winter months. So there's like a crazy amount of things that you would have to do on your own.
Yep.
So human beings, we know that we come from monkeys, and therefore monkeys are pack animals the same way that humans are. We've evolved to understand that we require other people. So I think that's why we sometimes look at people and we go, wow, we are not the same. But we have the same goals. We both want to survive. So therefore, we set aside the things that we don't like. And then, of course, when you talk about sympathy and empathy, this is something that humans have on a scale that no other animal really has. Like other animals can have sort of traces of it, but the amount of empathy and sympathy that we can feel for another human being suffering is absolutely insane.
Yeah. But
and
do
I
you think it's
that's
part of the evolution? This because you said that, you know, if we would take it back like 10,000 years ago, I think this level of sympathy, empathy was not that much prevalent. It was like, okay, the pack mentality. Obviously, people understood from a very, very early time that they need to work together to get down that, I don't know, big mammoth or whatever, and, you know, start to organize themselves. But on the other hand, there's like proof that the violence between people, like if there was a disagreement, there was no goddamn empathy, sympathy over there. It was like
it's a short line between love and hate, right?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting part of evolution in the human brain, and you know, Conduit would say.
I think it's so. For example, you see far more sympathy and empathy in Europe and in America than what you see in Africa. So in Africa, you'll constantly, right now, we have violent xenophobic attacks that's happening in South Africa, where businesses are being burnt down, people are being dragged out of their shops and stoned to death in the middle of the town square.
Yeah.
You know, they're angry because they don't have jobs because of COVID, because of how my government fucking handled COVID. They're angry because the economy is tanking and they don't have money in their pockets. And they're taking that anger out, like humans do, on the other. You see, as different as we are, humans have always been very good at sticking to our own. So whenever times get really tough, we'll trust the people that look like us, talk like us, believe like us, but then we don't trust anyone else. In Europe and America, you see a lot more empathy and sympathy because as life gets easier, it's possible for us to expand our caring about other people. Whereas in the past, you really only cared about your family, maybe your brother and your sister, but no one else, right? No one else really mattered in that regard. But also, I think it's based on how natural selection works. Humans have had 200 million years to evolve. And over that 200 million years, natural selection have chosen the people that have that ability to feel empathy and sympathy. The ones who didn't have that would have been cast out of society, wouldn't have been able to find a wife or a husband to marry, to make kids, to move forward. There's a reason why less than 1% of the world's population is actual psychopaths, right? Because we've chosen not to procreate. Those people were selected out. They weren't part of the gene pool moving forward. And so there's very few of them left. And I think there's going to be even less in the next 5,000 years. We might get to a point where very few, if any, psychopaths survive. But it is true, as times get tougher and life gets harder. Think about this, for example. 50 years ago, if you uttered the word animal rights, if 50 years ago you said animals have rights, people would have laughed at you.
That's true. Yeah.
They would have gone, what the fuck are you talking about? It's an animal. I can shoot my animal if I want, you know? We had dog fights in the 50s. No one gave a shit, right? People were just like, yeah, it's a dog fight. Dogs can fight. Nowadays, it's illegal. And not because the government decided it, because people said that's disgusting. Why are dogs fighting each other? It's not right. We shouldn't be having that.
Yeah.
You know, so the problem is, or the thing is, as life gets easier, and I know people don't like to hear this, but you guys did win the lottery. The lottery of life. When you were born in Europe and in America, you won the lottery. You were born into some of the most wealthy countries in the world, some of the most well-equipped countries in the world. And I realize that's not true for all of Europe. There's Eastern European countries that, you know, really had it rough.
We are in Eastern Europe.
We were born in a communist country. We'll just put that out there.
Yeah, but I mean, there's something beautiful about the Eastern European countries as well. The way that most Eastern European countries are rejecting a lot of the bullshit that's happening today because they've been there, right? In living memory, they remember what communism was like, how fucking horrible that life was. You know, so there's something beautiful there, and Eastern Europe is recovering, I think, much faster than sort of the rest of the world at the minute. Especially Africa doesn't seem to recover from its problems ever. But, you know, life in Africa is very hard. There's very little money. The average person in Africa lives on less than $1 a day, you know. that's how they make a living. In South Africa, my government, for example, was now they've started talking about a universal basic income. And they think a good amount of money to give people as a universal basic income because of COVID is about $50 a month. To them,
Wow.
that's what people need in order to survive. And people will actually survive on that $50 a month. They'll make it work. They'll eat less or they'll do something, but they'll be able to survive on it. But that's Africa. So Africans don't have the ability to think about animals or to think about other human beings because you're still trying to figure out how do you eat tomorrow.
Yep.
But when you no longer care how do you eat tomorrow, you have this ability to start thinking, oh my God, what is this guy? Oh my God, that hurts. That guy's going through some tough times. That guy's going, so we have this ability to expand our empathy and sympathy or retract it depending on how life is.
And how we
might see a shift.
You are in,
yeah, we might see a major shift happening in Europe and in America with the coming political problems and economic problems, which undoubtedly will come. The governments of the world have shut down the economy of the world for a year. There's no coming back from that. The world economy will crash within the next, I say, year, maybe 2 at the most. There will be a crash like nothing we've ever seen before. And when that happens, you will very quickly start to realize that the people who cared very much don't care as much anymore because now
hypocritical.
Now, if I care about someone else, I'm not eating. Right? Yeah. That's just as simple as it is.
It's an interesting psychological process. I think it has to do with, like you said, it has to do with your immediate needs being met, and the more comfortable your daily life gets, and let's say, the better your lifestyle is, people start to look for things to care. And I think, obviously, a lot of people talk about this all over the place, but I know specifically that Joe Rogan talked about it in one of his stand-up specials. It was really funny. Obviously, it was for comedic purposes, but you want to care about things, but why is it important to care about things? Maybe people need meaning in their lives, right? But when your daily security and food and livelihood is being threatened, I mean, that's your most immediate concern. So animal rights, all of these things, like, we should care about, I mean, the environment, sure, we should definitely care about that, right? But there has to be like a priority, like a hierarchy of things that you need to think about. And when the most basic needs are not being met, and you have to, really look into that, you don't have time to care for other things. So
yeah, but it's in the context of the living space here you have, and Accolonn really underlined this, because if you are put in the situation of, okay, I need to do something radical to ensure that my immediate family is safe, I am safe, then I have what to eat to survive. When you put it in that, there is no space to think about grander philosophies or science or evolution or, developing feelings or life theories or self-help. Yep. There's the immediate call to action. I got to do this to keep.
That's a very animalistic instinct that we still have. And that's pretty cool, because we like to praise ourselves, although like humanity reached a really interesting part in our evolution, but we're still basically animals. At our core, right?
Especially you.
Come on, man! Stop saying these things. but yeah, it's interesting to discover, because we like to think of ourselves, we're so evolved, we're so rational, we're so empathetic, and especially in the Western world and the more, let's say, socially developed countries. But when it comes down to, like, people seem to forget their animal side. They're like, what's at the core? If tomorrow people say, okay, you cannot eat anymore, what are you gonna do? Right? Are you gonna like, okay, that's fair? No, you're gonna fucking hunt or something. So I think in the process of us trying to reject that animal side, it's like, we're better than animals, we're more than animals. We start to lose sight of like who we are as essentially living beings on this planet.
I think the idea of thinking that we're somehow special is somewhat perplexing to me, because the same people that say trust the science, believe in science are the very people that believe humans are somehow magical. Like, humans aren't animals, right? Because at our core, Flame, what you just said is 100% correct. Marcelian, same thing. What you both just said, it's true, right? If you remove the comfortable lives that we lead, we are just animals, and we happen to be the animal that has the propensity or the ability for the greatest amount of violence, right? If you look at any animal in the in the animal kingdom, there is not a single animal more violent and more cruel than the human being.
Yeah. History has shown that.
Yeah, well, not only that, because our ability for cruelty actually comes. And Jordan Peterson was recently on Brett Weinstein's podcast, and they were actually talking about this, and I found it very interesting. The reason human beings are so incredibly capable of so much cruelty is because I can imagine what I would feel when I go through it, and then I can do it to you. Yeah. Animals can't do that, right? A dog can't imagine what it would feel like to rip open your throat if you ripped open his throat. He can't imagine that. He just does it because his instinct tells him to do it. But if I come to your house, I tie you down and I burn you alive inside your house, I did that knowing what you would feel and go through as I'm doing it. And I'm doing it because I know it would be horrific and horrendous. That's what makes humans. I think that's what allowed us to get to the top of the food chain. Is this somehow we were the monkey that figured out how to be incredibly cruel. And also very creative in our cruelty.
I think it all stems from emotions, right? And this was where sympathy has its roots as well. Because if I know how it feels to be good and I like it when people are nice to me and I can be nice to you because I like it when people are nice to me. I want to be nice to you so you can feel good as well. Because if you feel good, I feel good as well. Then the polar opposite has to be true as well, right? If I know what it is to feel shitty, then I can imagine that you would be feeling shit as well. And that's an interesting thing because aside from just resolving our problem in an objective manner, in a pragmatic manner, we like to inflict pain upon others because we felt pain and it feels like either we have to propagate it or it would be fair if others felt pain as well. And that's when people start to get, malevolent and evil. And instead of just saying, okay, fuck you, I'm out, I don't want to have to deal with you, it's like, okay, let's see how I can make you feel shitty. But that is, I think, is stemming from our capability of being incredibly emotional and empathetic, which, everything has the yin and yang, right?
Yep.
There's darkness in the light and light in the shadow and stuff like that. And all of this from your new apartment. What a fucking segue.
And of course, I just wanted to end with this. It's education, right? As education increases, our ability to not do fucked up shit increases as well. Because we start to realize, hold on, maybe I shouldn't kill this guy in the street because that's going to be bad. And also, I don't want anyone to kill me in the street, So I think it's also to do with just as we become more educated and more intelligent, we start to realize that some things is bad and we maybe shouldn't be doing those things. Whereas you can still see it in less educated societies, the propensity for violence and evil is still very much there. So yeah, I do think we're fine. I think we're going to be fine. But to bring it back to where this all started, I do think every single human being has the obligation to stand up and fix the system, right? When the system isn't working, you should be the one to work within the system and say, no, this isn't fair. Let's make it fair.
So what you're saying, man, is that you're in pursuit of justice because you're tired of playing Warlock and you want to play a Paladin?
No. I would never say that. I would never say that. There is just no way. Warlock is the only class that matters, as I said last time on the show. Blizzard should, and they could really, let's be honest, World of Warcraft could work with only Warlocks being a playable class.
I mean, Warlocks created Death Knights, right? So they have that going for them.
Well, you can have a Warlock tank with Demonology. You can have a melee Warlock with demonology again. We saw Gul'dan doing it. So the fact of the matter is, Blizzard could just have one class Warlock, and you could go, this is the healer Warlock, this is the tank Warlock, this is the melee Warlock, and this is the ranged Warlock. And everyone will be happy because Warlock's the base class.
Hey man, if you think about it, aren't the Warlocks the fathers of the hero classes in WoW, both Death Knights and Demon Hunters, right?
If you really think about
In
it,
a way.
it's kind of true.
In a way.
I mean, weren't Demo Warlocks like the first demonology, like the demons, right? What did they have it back in WoD? I feel the last Talon where you just turn into a big ass demon, like a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it was
Metamorphosis.
Yeah,
I think it was WoD. Yeah, WoD we could still turn into demons, which was actually pretty fucking cool. Although it didn't make sense from a lore perspective at all. I understand a lot of people got angry at them removing Metamorphosis, but the fact is, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
a Warlock that turns into a demon went too far and will never be able to come back. That's the whole thing of Warlocks. The lore of a Warlock is you channel the foul, but you do not give into it. So Warlocks, essentially. Yeah, you basically Warlocks go through years and years of training, learning how to open themselves up to the Twisting Nether without succumbing to the sort of seduction of the Twisting Nether. According to the lore, for example, whenever a Warlock casts spells, the demons are whispering to it to give in, to allow them more power, and the Warlock has to constantly resist that and just use enough in order to do damage or in order to win, and then once it's won, it needs to close the gap. Whereas obviously with Demon Hunters, they're a different branch because they accepted the foul, used the blood of the foul, and then gained mastery over the foul, which is very different.
Risky. I wanted to point this out. I imagine you've read Illidan, the book, right? Because I felt like
long ago.
Yeah, the process of how they became demon hunters was really cool, and it reminded me of what you're saying, that aren't the demon hunters also constantly in battle with their inner demon because they have to eat their heart, right? So like the demon soul is still within them, and that's what's giving them power, and they're like always with the head and with their voice in their heads, like give in, and that's kind of how.
I think if Demon Hunters were more fun, I would actually prefer to play a Demon Hunter because it's just as cool of a story as the Warlock. Because yes, Demon Hunters, Demon Hunters were effectively created to serve the Twisting Nether. That was the intent, at least, for their creation. And then, much like the Forsaken, they, through sheer will, forced down the demon instinct.
That's what's so cool. And I think this with Warlocks and Demon Hunters, this is something that's really cool in entertainment today and media today, because they're obviously the anti-hero, and it's why are we so attracted to the anti-hero? Like Illidan, like the Demon Hunters, because they symbolize the acceptance of darkness and the will of overcoming it and using it instead of just fearing the darkness and just staying in the light and staying in the little corners like, no, that's bad. But seeing characters, and even in real life as well, if you see somebody that can actually work with the darkness and not succumb to its evilness, there's something in your mind is like, wow, that's so cool. Wow, that's so amazing. And I think of yin and yang when I look at this shit.
I think the anti-hero, I think the main reason why people love the anti-hero is because it's relatable, right? The problem that World of Warcraft has had for a long time, and I always say this, Anduin, for example, the reason I've never liked Anduin is because, and most of the Alliance characters, the reason I've never liked them is because they are so one-dimensional in how either good or bad they are, right? So Anduin was just this good king, and he's the king that wants only the best for everyone. And then for the first time in, I want to say BFA, we saw something human when he literally punched Rathian, right? Yeah. That was the first time we saw something human out of Anduin. Yeah. The first time he lost himself and he wasn't this good guy. And now with Sylvanas, we're finally seeing the lesser parts of his personality enter into it. And he is becoming a more in-depth character. And I think that's why anti-heroes are so cool to us, because they're fundamentally human.
They're
They're
flawed.
flawed. You know, look at Batman, look at Superman. They all have fundamental flaws. There's fundamental things that they don't have or shortcomings that they have that helps us relate to them. Whereas the hero doesn't always have that. So it's very difficult to get into the hero character because you don't identify with anything that the hero has.
It's an ideal.
Yeah.
And
It's an ideal that you know you can't achieve, right? You know you can't be that good.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons in most religions, their leader has flaws. Because if the leader was absolutely perfect, no one would be able to follow the leader. But you give the leader some flaws and suddenly people go, oh, I do that too. I get angry too sometimes. I have lust too. This makes sense. I can relate to it better, I think.
It's an interesting point, and I wasn't one of the most interesting parts of Anduin's added character coming from BFA until now. Obviously, when he punched Rethian and when he freed Saurfang, because freeing Saurfang didn't really feel like the correct way of addressing his sense of justice. Because obviously, Saurfang was a war criminal for him. He probably killed hundreds of Alliance members, humans, dwarves, whatever. So obviously freeing him kind of went against at least his judicial system, most likely, but he still did that. So whenever we see like flaws in a character, it's like, oh, okay, so they fuck up too, and yet still here they are. So I think that's definitely what makes characters interesting, and hopefully we can see more of Anduin, because like I agree with you. And when it comes to a story, and if you want to tell a story, the more relatable the characters are, the more invested you can be into the story. And obviously, Anduin is one-dimensional. It felt flawless, whereas Varian, for instance, which is one of my favorite Alliance characters, always felt like he was struggling with his anger, with his issues, and was the better person despite that. So I think seeing characters overcome their weaknesses and not ideally just taking them out of their personality as well, but fighting with them and overcoming. I think that's what inspires people and gets people's interest in being hooked into the characters.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Varian has always been a favorite of mine as well. He's definitely in my top 5 of characters in World of Warcraft. Again, because of this, because of the very human element to Varian. He was nowhere near perfect. And you're right with Anduin as well. Anduin knew that setting Saurfang free would probably cost him a lot inside the Alliance. I mean, Tyrande, you can imagine, lost her fucking mind over the freeing of Saurfang, because Saurfang, as much as he likes to pretend that he is all about honor, he was the one who shot the fucking trebuchets, right? The ballista. He was the guy who he set fire to that tree on the orders of Sylvanas. And so I mean, his ideals seem to be quite
and the same line.
Yeah, I want to say it's quite convenient, right? That he took so long to stand up and say, oh no, I don't agree with this, even though that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, eventually.
So yeah, I think
isn't that weren't they trying? Although I might be on a limb here, but weren't they trying to portray kind of the personality of a soldier who's following orders because that's how he was instructed, but clearly wrestles with his conscience of, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? But keeps making mistakes along the way until he finally says, okay, enough is enough. Maybe that's probably what they were trying to do with Saurfang and all the Saurfang shorts alongside BFA, which I think is it's a cool thing. I don't think, in terms of media and entertainment, I don't think a lot of media portrays the struggles of a soldier, essentially, like what it means to be a soldier and be instructed in the ways that their lifestyle demands them to be, and then trying to be integrated into society, or trying to put him in a point where he has to wrestle with his conscience and his moral compass and stuff like that. So I feel like that's maybe the struggle that Saurfang had, where he felt like his honor dictated is like, I've lived longer than all of my friends and all of my squad's members and all of that, because everybody died on his watch, and he still felt alive and felt guilty about that. Plus feeling guilty that, you know, like he lost his son and all that. I feel like Saurfang was a really good character. They could definitely have developed him a little bit more.
I mean, personally, I can't like him because he stood against the Dark Lady, and you don't like the Lady.
Accolonn worships.
No! God damn it!
Hey, I am a huge fan of Sylvanas. I think Sylvanas is one of the most interesting characters in World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it feels like Blizzard might be going down the path of making her one-dimensionally evil, which again would be miserable writing, because Sylvanas have never been evil. Sylvanas have been a lot of things, but evil, she's very cold, she's very calculated.
She's an anti-hero. I mean, that's what I thought she was.
Yeah. I thought so too, and I don't know where Blizzard is going to take this story. Obviously, none of us do. I trust in Blizzard's ability to tell that story amazingly well. I think Blizzard have some of the best writers in the world, even though some people like to say the writing of Blizzard is horrible. It's like, what are you even talking about? This game is amazing. For literally just the story, this game is amazing. So yeah, personally, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I've had the opportunity to speak to some of those developers who work on the cinematics for World of Warcraft. And it is absolutely amazing the amount of effort they put into those cinematics to make sure that they're good and that they make sense and that people can actually follow them, and that they're true to the lore, so to speak. So my personal opinion, I can't wait for the story going forward. I think we're in for one hell of a ride. 9.1 is going to be insane.
I hope so.
All right,
I can't see how it can't be, right? What's your take on 9.1?
I mean, it's pretty early to tell. We don't do that much that much speculation to begin with. We leave that, to the professionals, the likes of you, Pyro and Noble. But here's one for you, man, because we threw this question to Pyro, we threw it to Noble last time, and I'm throwing it to you now.
Mm-hmm.
How would you? What was your big brain seeing as the end of World of Warcraft? How will World of Warcraft end, story-wise? Dun, 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 dun.
I think with the awakening of Azeroth.
Okay, you gotta give me more. Give me some what that leads
juice.
to that.
Wants the juice.
All right, so I'm giving you guys information on a video that I'm going to be making literally right after this podcast.
Right, just short nuggets of it.
Yeah, so people are getting the early access, so to speak, to my newest video. I believe that the first ones are not the fathers of the Eternal Ones or of the Titans. They didn't make the Titans or the Eternal Ones. I believe the first ones arrived in a universe that was in absolute hell. You had the cosmological forces fighting one another, trying to be victorious. And the first ones came in and they sort of established peace. They established order within this crazy universe. They tied Azeroth to the center of this universe. And I believe that Azeroth is the entity that gave birth to this universe. So every single one of these cosmological forces is an element of Azeroth herself. She is the universe. When she awakens, she will absorb the entire universe into herself, and she will join the ranks of whoever is above the first ones. The sort of big brain multiverse beings out there. I believe there's multiple universes like ours. In the universe or in this multiverse with multiple beings or entities like Azeroth that sort of exist and then has to be born. So much like the Titans were born inside planets, these beings are born inside universes. So these first ones arrived, and rather than helping Azeroth be born, they decided to enforce a sense of order to this universe. And Azeroth right now lies chained up in this universe, incapable of escaping. Sylvanas says it herself when she explains this world is a prison. I believe that she is correct. She is absolutely correct. If you look at the cosmological map, which is one of my favorite things to look at. But if you look at the cosmological map, there's runes all around Azeroth, the same domination runes that we see on Frostmourne, on the Helm of Domination, on Zuval. We see these exact same domination runes all around Azeroth and all around the Emerald Dream and the Shadowlands. So this entire system is being dominated by some kind of outside force with the help of domination magic. And I think that is the end of World of Warcraft. It is the sort of, we are Azeroth's army. We are the soldiers of Azeroth, and everything that we're doing right now is Azeroth sending us out to destroy the ones that have kept her captive, that have sort of forced her into this world of slavery, if you will.
All right. So if that is the end, right? So we basically envision an Azeroth waking up. Okay, this is like the probably the biggest power we will ever encounter, like story wise, and even like boiling down to the characters of the game. That is the end. Azeroth waking up. What comes after that? Is there something? Is there a new chapter if Azeroth wakes up, and will that lead to like new adventures and stories and threats and whatever? Can you envision that? Because I'm pretty sure they're not gonna stop World of Warcraft. Like, okay, guys, that's it. I'm sorry, but what would follow up after this?
So the only way that World of Warcraft will ever come to an end is at the point where it no longer is financially viable to keep World of Warcraft around.
Yeah.
And even then, there's a very good chance that Activision decides to push ahead and forge ahead with WoW 2, new graphics, updated graphics, a game built for a modern day audience, which World of Warcraft really isn't, right? There's a massive amount of things that World of Warcraft doesn't have that younger people, especially the newer gamer generation, comes in and they want something different. They want something that isn't World of Warcraft. That doesn't mean that the MMO market is in a bad spot. I think the MMO market has a lot of people that want to play good MMOs, but unfortunately, and World of Warcraft is the same in this regard, they play it too safe rather than doing massive things that could either make or break the game. They tend to dial it down to a safer option, and that's not really ever going to bring new people in. As for whether or not there's another chapter in a WoW 2, so to speak, absolutely. There's more universes out there, right? Like I just said, Azeroth is simply one being born in a single cosmological universe. There is more cosmological universes out there, and there is every reason to believe that when Azeroth awakes, if we are in fact her army, that she sends us to another one of these universes to free another one of her family members from the first ones, right? And then we go to a new universe, a new quote-unquote Azeroth that we find, and a new world dawns, and now, we start with that level of threat. We start back from level 1 in a new world, new threats, new creatures, new everything. Personally, I don't know if that would ever happen, though, if we're talking WoW 2. Do you think it would be financially viable to spend all that money to make WoW 2? No. Or do you think it would just be better to fix WoW 1?
Let me tell you something. I've spoke about this in I think the Soul episode too. So right now, with the current team of WoW and the current state of management within Blizzard, I don't believe that nobody would be willing to take that risk. If you would have still had Morheim and Metzen and the old gang in, if they would still have the lead, and I'm pretty sure they would take this just based on what you said. Because if there's an opportunity to open up a new chapter, I think they would have seen it and would have taken the risk, as they did previously with so many other franchises within Blizz. But now, I don't think so. I think like the vision and the plan moving forward, since Activision has it's pretty clear that they have like the tight grip on everything Blizzard nowadays. I think it's just okay. It's making money. Keep pumping it, baby. Keep pumping it. We can make it.
There is something very interesting to what you just said there, Marcelian. This is another video that I'm going to be making today. But Blizzard seems to have taken what Activision wanted from them, and they're doing something different with it. So Activision wants Blizzard to make more games faster, more content, right?
True.
That's literally all Activision cares about. And that makes sense, right? If we're being completely honest, you're running a business. The last thing you need is a company losing you money. And when I say lose money, I'm not talking about Blizzard making $1.9 billion.
Yeah.
If Blizzard is capable of making $3 billion a year, making $1.9 billion means that you're losing $1.1 billion, right?
Yep.
That's money lost because it's money that you're not making. So Activision wants Blizzard to make as much money as humanly possible. Let's not lie to ourselves. Blizzard is one of the worst companies when it comes to new content. Their games are amazing, but it takes years and fucking years for them to bring out new games.
Very true.
We now know that there's at least 3 projects in the works at Blizzard Entertainment, and all 3 of these is console and PC games, right? So these are major AAA titles that Blizzard is currently working on. I think Blizzard took what Activision said to heart. They're going to bring out more content, but their answer to it is simply new games, right? World of Warcraft still is the largest earning franchise for Blizzard Entertainment by a long shot. It makes more money than any other game that they have.
Yep.
I think Diablo 4 can be a contender for that spot.
Yep.
They're trying to set it up as sort of an MMO, online multiplayer type Diablo, right? If they can do it correctly, Diablo could very easily challenge, if not overtake, World of Warcraft. Let's not forget, Diablo 3 sold, I believe, something like 10 million copies
in like its first. Yeah, I think it had the best selling PC game at the time for a couple of years, actually.
Yeah, it was only recently actually overtaken by Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes. Before Cyberpunk, Shadowlands, by the way.
Yeah, before Cyberpunk, Shadowlands. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, Shadowlands overthrew it, and then came. But Diablo does have a massive audience.
Yes.
I think overall Diablo sold something like 30 million copies. That's the last time I checked. Obviously, that isn't part of the record because the record only looks at the first 3 days after launch. Yeah. So how many game copies do you sell for the first 3 days?
Yep.
But Diablo sold something like 30 million copies all around. That is insane. And if you have Diablo 4, an online type of game, and you have some kind of subscription service that goes with it, because here's what I think is Diablo 4 is going to look like. I think you're going to buy the game, you're going to be able to play the game, and then there's going to be season passes within the game, right? Every season will be a season pass that you need to purchase in order to open up new areas of the game, and then of course expansions and things like that is going to happen as well. The reason I think that is look at every game that Activision
the current model. It's the current model in a lot of games, to be fair, right? Online especially. So yeah.
As much as I hate that, I understand why they're doing it, right? You have a game that you're going to continuously work on. You need to pay people for that work. So I don't think season passes is the worst thing in the world. But then they might actually come up with a subscription service. There is a world in which I see Activision solidifying the subscription model of their company. I've been saying this for quite some time now, but if you do you guys know what the Xbox Game Pass for PC is?
Yes, I have it. Hey, and I think it's a great service. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's the best thing I've ever seen since Netflix. It's basically the Netflix of games.
Yeah, it is the Netflix of games. You have EA Play, exactly the same thing, right? Yeah. I have EA Play, I have Ubisoft Uplay, and I have the Xbox Game Pass. I can see Activision doing that for Blizzard and for themselves. There is a ton of games there, right? And all Activision has to do with all of their new releases is go, okay, rather than paying $12 a month for World of Warcraft, we're going to charge you $12 a month, $12.99, but then you get to play all of our games. So it doesn't matter. When a new Call of Duty launches, it's free because you're paying $12 a month. When a new Overwatch launches, when a new Diablo launches, when the 3 other new games that we're working on launches, for one subscription, you get all of these games, including World of Warcraft, which I think is the better model.
It's the better
because
model,
I think,
for sure.
I think World of Warcraft right now, as it stands, is a very expensive game. Considering that if I open my Xbox Game Pass, I have over 200 games for the same price, right?
Exactly.
One game, $12.99. 200 games, $12.99, right?
Plus, a lot of the games on Game Pass are also a lot of online titles, right?
Exactly.
You have to remember this because, you know, an online game is a different beast than like a single target like God of War type game, because that requires maintenance, patching, active teams working constantly on it, right?
That's what I wanted to pitch to you guys, because I have a hard time seeing Diablo being up to this model, mostly because of how the player base and the community is, and it goes back to the Diablo Immortal announcement when we had the famous red-shirt guy. But most of the controversy came from, and it built this mindset that was always there, but we didn't really realize it. We as gamers, were, especially, you know, the hardcore community, was built with old single-player offline games. Obviously, World of Warcraft changed that, but Diablo at least was always like, okay, I can just fire up my PC. There was a big backlash against Diablo 3's have to always be online bullshit. And I don't remember if they announced that Diablo 4 you can also play offline or only online. I don't recall about that.
It will be only online.
Only online.
Based on the features, it's only online because it's an open world, right?
Yeah, this is the time span when they did that
I
in
know,
2012. That was the backlash was because we were still transitioning to this, single player, a lot of more single player centric stuff to the online. Nowadays, it's quite the norm to have most of the games connected to.
I agree, and I like the model as well. I think it's better. It's more modern. It kind of aligns with how gaming is today. But then again, people didn't receive that very well, and I don't know how much Blizzard can take that risk with the Diablo franchise at the very least. It could definitely work with World of Warcraft, StarCraft.
But that's the thing, man. If they take the model that Accolonn was talking about, and I'm a firm believer and supporter of this model because I've seen it play out on Xbox. And the thing with Xbox is like you get the ultimate the Game Pass Ultimate thing. You have your library on PC as well. So whatever is on PC, it's there. Yeah. And trust me, the value of that is just ridiculous. If they adopt that model, it's all win.
I have Netflix, and I can tell you by far the best money I spend is on my Xbox Game Pass.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
There is not a single day that goes by that I think, maybe I should cancel this subscription.
Yep.
It's amazing. There's new games being added all the time. I am a huge fan of subscription models. I think it allows me to pay when I want to play, and I can stop paying when I don't want to play anymore. Whereas if, for example, I'm paying $12.99 for World of Warcraft, I'm not just paying $12.99. I also bought Shadowlands.
Yep.
Right? Now, I was lucky in that I was sent a Shadowlands Collector's Edition by Blizzard, but I still bought the base game before I got that Collector's Edition.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, if I stop playing, I'm losing $200, even though I didn't spend $200, but I am losing money because I bought the game. I should be playing the game. Yeah. The same with Diablo. I stopped playing Diablo 3, but I did buy it for $60, right? So if I stop playing it, I'm no longer getting that $60. Whereas if all you're charging me is $12.99, so what? Yeah, right? I got a month or two out of Diablo 4. Now I don't want to play it anymore. I stopped my subscription, and I'm good. So I genuinely think that's where Activision is going to go. And when Activision goes there, World of Warcraft will have a lot more freedom.
Yeah,
I genuinely believe.
To get to that. I wanted to get that this model would potentially save any restrictions on World of Warcraft because they won't have to worry about, oh my God, this new expansion will not bring in the sales anymore because we took the liberty of, exploring something really new that players aren't familiar with or something. It's like, hey man,
exactly.
You pay a subscription for all the library. There's a new WoW expansion out. Maybe I can try this shit.
Yeah, so there's a new WoW, there's a new Overwatch game, there's a new Diablo game, there's 3 other new games, there's an Activision new game.
Yeah.
There's new games that will incentivize people to keep paying the subscription model.
Yeah.
Whereas now, World of Warcraft and Ian Azikostas and the team have to be very careful, because one wrong move and they lose a lot of subscribers, right? Almost overnight, they lose a lot of subscribers.
One wrong, that's right.
One BFA move. something along those lines. No, that's very true. You know, they don't talk about it because obviously it's quite understandable why Ian and the gang don't talk about this too much. But you have to be aware that they have these talks, especially with Ian. Like, okay, man, we have to make sure that whatever you guys are doing over there and developing, it makes the initial sale go up, because they have, you know, not going into too much detail here, but you have to understand they have all of this financial planning and financial projecting because of the stakeholders, and they have a lot of planning around the expansion, launch day, and sales and pre-orders and stuff like that. So that ties in, whether you like it or not, that does tie in with what they do with the game and how much liberty they have on trying new stuff or remaining in some sort of a line or some sort of formula that has been working at least financially. So I think that if they go into that, Accolonn, I still have my doubts, to be fair, because I always felt Activision Blizz have been sort of this stubborn mule in regards to the, I don't know, trends, if you want, like in the market, in the gaming space. I have my concerns, or not concerns, but let's just say I'm not 100% convinced they'll go for that model. But if they do, I think that's the best possible thing that can happen for both them business-wise and us as players, consumers, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this is speculation from my part, right? I have no evidence of this either way. I just think personally for myself, and obviously I'm not a business person per se, so I don't know what the actual financials of this would be, but I think it would lead to a hell of a lot more people paying that subscription every month, guaranteeing an income. And in my opinion, Blizzard have the games and the games library to actually justify $12.99 if that comes with a World of Warcraft subscription. It's going to bring more people into World of Warcraft because you're already paying that subscription. You may as well try it out. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Right now, I think the entry cost for World of Warcraft is quite high, right? You have to buy the game for $60, and then you also have to pay a subscription. That can be quite a lot of money that you sort of have to spend up front, whereas if you make the subscription service for all the games that Blizzard and Activision has, then it's no longer that big of an upfront cost. Right? It's easier, I think, in my opinion. I'm still interested to see what these new games will be from Blizzard Entertainment. They've just started hiring for a brand new multiplayer online game,
I saw that
which apparently is some kind of first-person shooter game. Which
Titan?
What? Nah, Titan is Overwatch, more or less.
Yeah, I don't know if Overwatch, like, why would they make another first-person shooter game? They have Overwatch.
Maybe it's StarCraft.
They dropped that.
It could be StarCraft Ghost, something like StarCraft Ghost.
I think Jason Schreier reported on that there was a StarCraft FPS in the works until recently, and they canceled that. So.
Oh yeah.
But just circling back and then closing this chapter regarding the subscription, you know how much value they put on their MAUs, and I believe this model would fucking drastically increase their MAUs just because of the sheer number of games available. Activision Blizzard, not only Blizzard or not only Activision, the sheer amount of collection that will like super boost up the MAUs.
I mean, of course, and it's guaranteed income, right? That's the trick. It's guaranteed income. It's no longer we have 300,000. I think the last time I checked, they had 326 million MAUs, I think. They no longer have that. I mean, most of that is from King, but still, they no longer have that and not be sure how much money they make. They would have that at $12.99 a month.
Yep.
Right? Which is a crazy fucking amount of money.
If you think about it, Jesus Christ. All right.
Even if they just have half of that, but
Yeah,
still,
man. Yeah,
right?
it's still good. I mean, okay, we have to keep some more topics for a next podcast.
Jesus,
with
man, so
Accolonn.
many things we still want to talk about.
We covered so many shit, but it's so cool to talk to folks like Accolonn, to obviously have the knowledge, we can have like, I love the dance that comes with a nice conversation, right? So that being said, we have to like close it here to kind of retain the 1 hour mark, but this can definitely carry on even further on the next time we get Accolonn in, because he's always such a good sport. He's like, sure.
I'd be happy to come whenever you guys want. It is fucking fun to sit here and talk to you guys.
Especially nothing beats starting the day with a coffee and talking about WoW and all this bullshit.
WoW and life and the little bit of human evolvement,
psychology, a little bit of philosophy, and Azeroth
good.
multiverse is all you need to start the day.
Oh yeah, 100%.
All right, thank you so much
for having me, guys.
Always a pleasure,
really
man.
appreciate it.
Thank you for coming, and thank you guys for listening and watching up until this point. Remember, if you can find us on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Podcast, or you can watch us on youtube.com/MarcelianOnline, or you can check out Accolonn on
We're everywhere.
youtube.com/Accolonn on his Twitch as well. He streams on YouTube and on Twitch.
Yep.
I think on YouTube he has the Sunday show that is being streamed more, and on Twitch there's some more gameplay and stuff, plus the lore and speculation videos and all of that. Go check him out. Really awesome dude. That being said, see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Have a great week ahead.
/bow.
Still I play WoW. Still I play WoW.